All right, let's move on to the next story. My humble apologies. There is a big maturity growth between 2022 and present time 2024. Um, well, not really 2023 into 2022, whatever. There's a big growth in me because I named this story "Nut Job of the Year." Um, I'm a huge advocate of mental health. I don't want to use that word because, especially the first story, is straight up. I renamed it Mentally Unstable of the Year. And by the way, just in case anybody want to know, that title is never coming back again. Like, that is not going to be a reward. And I know I did something similar last year, award show. I did something similar, but as you can see, the difference between there is some mental unstabilization with this person, and then there is, okay, something wrong with you, and I don't know if you just so entitled or you just so I don't know. There's one that you need some really deep psychological help, which is what this first story is, and the other one, hmm, hmm, I um
Keep dancing on these eggshells, Marlon. You're gonna cut your toe.
no, the second story would explain this. Will explain itself why I just can't say what I really want to say. So, anyway, let's get to the first story. I apologize in advance again. I did use the word nut job. That's the old Marlon, not the new Marlon. I have changed my views on this. So please don't email me going, oh my God, I can't believe. Somebody fell asleep.
No, it sounds like a dryer.
Yep, that was my dryer.
Oh,
I thought it was the
See, you can see
construction
Tracy.
company.
You can tell which one of us don't do their own laundry.
I do my own laundry.
That's
Literally,
My dryer does not sound like that.
mine don't either. But I ain't hating it because it's nice to have a dryer in the house anyway.
Hmm.
Ooh, day's over. Ooh. Anyway, first story. All right, let's move on to the nut job of the year. And fortunately or unfortunately, as you want to take it, it was a tie because I couldn't figure out. I just couldn't figure out which one of these was just like, yeah, something wrong with y'all. So for tie number one,
Some friends several years before my wife and I started dating. The date was in early September, and we met in a restaurant in the city. It was a nice place, the kind where waitstaff wear dress shirts, ties, etc. I was in a nice suit and tie, and she showed up in jeans, flip-flops, and a hoodie. I jokingly said something along the lines of, I'm assuming they didn't tell you this place is kinda snooty. She says, they did, I just don't give an F. I'm not shaving my legs and putting on some fancy dress for some guy who I don't even know if I want to touch his dick, let alone if I'm willing to let him between my legs. I just stared at her in disbelief. She then said, I mean, you seem nice and all, but I'm not in the mood to do all the work when I can just go home and do it myself. I asked her to keep her voice down and she said, why do you want me to keep my voice down? Are you afraid people will hear me talking about going home and effing myself with my vibrator instead of letting you come back home and F me? I just stood up, walked over to the waiter, paid for my drink, apologized to them for her outburst and said, blind date, I am not sticking around, and left. I did hear from my friends that she later got married to some guy, stabbed him on their anniversary a few years later, and is now in jail for attempted murder. They were like, yeah, we always knew she was kinda crazy. Yeah, effing think? And then down in the comments, OP shares some more information. Yes, she stabbed her husband. Stabbed, not poked, stabbed. Yeah, she was pretty, but not worth that level of crazy. The people who set us up are no longer friends of mine. That situation was part of the falling out. Also, they became completely insufferable twits. They didn't know that she was that level of crazy. They thought that she was just whiny or pushy at times and outspoken. This woman stabbed her husband about 20 times with one of those small handheld gardening shovels. It was their 1-year anniversary. She's still in prison. The husband eventually got out of the hospital, went through rehab, and moved out of the state. Last I'd heard, he'd gotten remarried and had kids.
Okay. So, not gonna make jokes about this. Not even gonna make light of this. This was mentally unstable.
Dude,
Dude, what?
Look. I am all for being sensitive about mental infirmities and situations. But there are times when shit's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. Like there's no, you ain't got the. Well, she was troubled and blah 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 blah.
I tell you
No,
when I show
this
you
one
the second
fits.
story, you'll understand what I mean by mentally unstable and crazy. Even though I gotta anyway, that's mental instability. That woman
No.
have been put in a
See,
room.
mentally unstable to me, mentally unstable is the lady who was climbing in the baby's crib. Mentally unstable is the lady who was nursing a baby that doesn't belong to her. Mentally unstable was the one who went kind of goofy talking about, well, y'all could have played with my booty hole or something. Those are all mentally unstable. This woman tried to kill somebody. Okay, at what point do we cut through some of the sensitivities and proclivities and just say, yo, this shit crazy, man?
Okay,
And I hope she gets the help that she needs.
Mm-hmm.
But we end up losing so much by spending so much time trying not to offend anybody.
Oh, I'm not. But here's
Some
here's
things
the
you just cut
counterpoint.
to the chase.
Here's my counterpoint. Remember when we did the one about the lady who was trying to nurse her friend's baby? And I always said that story was not over unless she get help, because what she gonna wind up doing is getting attached to somebody else, and then we don't know how far she gonna go to get that other baby and everything
Right.
else. So when you say she's crazy, then you're literally saying that everybody starts off with a mental illness and then goes to crazy. So you're right now saying she's crazy for what she did, stabbing it. Then what was the whole restaurant thing then? Was that mental instability? And then she went crazy?
Yeah, I guess I'll see your point there, because yes, what she was doing there is someone who is whatever her issue is, because we don't know what the issue is. There's so many different things it can be, and for me to armchair quarterback what that was, I don't know, but I do know it was unhealthy. But left untreated, left unassisted, left undirected, left untreated, it will make its way to crazy. Okay, so all up until then, see, I'm one of the people to look at it like this. It's kind of like when I look at like young people who commit crimes and things like that, right? I believe in intervention. I believe in education. I believe in outpouring of concern and care before it elevates to a crime or something you can't unwind. So once we've hit that particular point, nothing I can do for you. I'm not trying to figure out what happened. I'm not trying to do all those different things. Once you've done the thing, that now defines you. All the stuff before that is where society, family, friends, somebody failed to pick up and engage, and maybe you failed to engage back so that we could try to get you the help that you need. Like, so what she was doing, acting out on that first date, yo, that's, I don't even know what to call that, because for some people that just could just be really bad manners. Like, it doesn't really mean that she was mentally infirm or infirm. She really could just be really rude. you know.
Right.
And then the fact that the friends were like, yeah, she's always been one of them. So that's where you're like, okay, this person probably has some set of needs. Who knows, right? But even then, I'm real leery of going all in on the hug it out thing because sometimes people, have particular needs and they choose not to try to address them, right?
Mhm.
Not when they're in their fog. When they're in their fog, it's hard to hold a lot of things against them. But when they're in their lucid moments, they choose not to. Ain't nothing I can do for that.
Okay. Anybody else?
Sorry.
I'm with Parker. I blame the friends.
What about your
I
friend?
kind of see that too because I would kind of want to question them as why did you think this was a good pick for me? Like I don't even know. Even if I'll go about what Theus has said is that hey, she's an a-hole and she's always been like that. So what is it about me that made you think this was a good pick for me? And to go out in public with her. So yeah, I kind of would kind of question my friends as your judgment is not very good, either about me or about her.
Might be about you because one of the things he mentioned was
But
how
she's
attractive she is,
truly. Mm-hmm.
right? So he may be someone who is largely driven by how attractive the person is. And then unfortunately, sometimes you get things that come with that. Still, the friends kind of, set him up for one on that one, though. But they're
Ah,
not responsible for her behavior.
that did change though, Theus. You did say why did you blame the friends
Uh,
on the last one. So that did change.
well, I also just didn't know. I also made a caveat that they're not responsible for who she is.